Okay, welcome back to our 3D class. The last time when we worked in Blender, we modeled a drum. Now it's quite easy. I showed you how to model the drum. Now the next thing we're going to go into is how to add a texture to the drum. How to make the drum have that, texture and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to go online. Okay, before I show you how to do a texture, I'm going to do how to apply a material shader. Now, let's throw our drum. Let's move to our render view. I taught you about the shading view, the material view, and the render view. So you're going to go to render view here. So it's going to change the scene. Yes, this is how our drum looks right now if we render it out. I'm going to add a camera and I'm going to render it out so we could see it, that there's no fuss whatsoever. I'm just going to do it so you know that I'm not actually deceiving you. So let's do, I'm going to press N here, and I'm going to, on my view, I'm going to lock my camera here. Yes, so I can move the object. Now if I render out this object, let's render image, and you're going to see what comes out. Now exactly, now this is what it looks like. It's a shader view, nothing, no material, no texture. We just have one light source. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to create a texture on the drum. It's quite simple. What you do is you come under here where we have material properties, you click it, then you're going to say new. So when you say new, it's going to add a material right here. Now for example, if I say I want the material under the base color, I want red. You see our material is going to change to red. If I say blue, it's going to change to blue. So that's how the material shader works. If you want to actually have a material like this, so if I render out, let's see what's going to come out. Render image, and we have a red drum. So this is exactly how to add a material to your object. Now if you want to come to the point whereby you feel I want my material to be very realistic, so there are various ways you can do that in Blender. I'm going to start with the first method, which is a drum is normally metallic. It's called metallic because it has metal. So the first thing you're going to do under this shading property, okay, for us to understand, you might not understand what I'm doing. If you come under shading, now this is it. It's going to show us our drum. So because our drum is like this, it's not showing that it's actually a drum. First thing, you can add a metallic shader to it, so it looks kind of like shining like a drum. You understand? This is shinier here. Then you could also add a roughness, reduce your roughness, so it's going to give it that shiny, oily drum feel. So let's render this out. Let's go back to layout. So let's render. Let's go to render image. Exactly, now we have our drum. You see our drum is looking oily, shinier. This is another way to actually give perspective to your object in Blender to make it look kind of a bit realistic. Now if you're that kind of person, you are very concerned about details, you want it to have you have a PBR material or stuff like that, what you could do is you could go online and you can download materials, and I'm going to show you how to plug your materials using your node shaders. So let's do that now. We're going to go online and we're going to search for metal metal textures. So what I did in my own case was I downloaded a texture. So I'm going to share the link where I have that particular texture downloaded from. So I pasted it on my desktop, so you could go there and download that same texture. So what I'm going to do now is go to my desktop, because I have it already pasted on my desktop. So I'm going to extract. So yep, so here's the folder right here. Now I could see now all these different textures here shows what you need to connect to make your texture really look realistic. So let's go back to Blender, and I'm going to go to shading like I did the last time. So I'm going to do Shift A, and I'm going to add, I go to texture, and I'm going to add image texture. So you have that here, and I'm going to plug the base. Now immediately it changes color. Now I'm going to come under open, then I'm going to desktop where I have the texture. Where's my texture here? What's the name? Aha, rusted. So I'm going to put in the base, metal plate rusted base color. You can click that, and voila, you have like the drum, the kind of like metal. This is actually what I downloaded. What you're going to do again is, you notice that the way the drum scratch is looking a bit big. So I'm going to press Ctrl T to create a node wrangler. Now if it's not working, like in my own case, the node wrangler is not working, you have to go to edit, user preference, and you go to add-on, and you type node wrangler. Node, if I say node, is now here's the node wrangler, so you have to enable it. So once you've enabled it, just say save preference and close. So once I press Ctrl T again, boom, it gives me this node connection of room. Now I can reduce the amount of like width of the rust. So I could come here under scale Y. Let's see how it looks like with the Y axis. Now it's looking funny. Okay, I'm gonna do an X. Okay, X is not dynamic, so I'm going to do my X. So it's giving it a lot of, it's making it so much. I don't want that. So just look for what you feel is best for your object. We could do a bigger one. It just depends on what you want. If you want, okay, I could, yeah, then I could rotate it. You could also rotate how much you want the rust to look, so you could rotate any way you want. Yeah, you could just, depends on what you want. Actually, you could just rotate it like this. Okay, so I'm going to, this is not actually perfect, but it's for transparency's sake. So I'm going to like add Shift A. You know what, let's remove the node wrangler first. Let's unconnect it. Let's add another shader. We're going to say texture image. So what we're going to bring in, we're going to bring in our metallic. So with your metallic here, what you're going to do next is you separate these two textures. Yeah, then you go to the Shift A, mix shader. You go under shader and say mix shader. So you put it in the middle, it plugs it, bang. Then you do Shift A again, and you add under shader, you add glossy shader. Glossy, gonna add it like this. Then we can take this mix shader and Shift D and duplicate it, add it here. So we'll connect this roughness to this one. You see, it kind of like changes. Then you take the base color and you plug it into the glossy, to the yellow point. Now if you look at drum, is looking cool. Then what you're going to do next is, because it's giving it this lighting, you want to create a light feel to it. You do Shift A and go to input and add a Fresnel. Yes, a Fresnel. So you put a Fresnel here and you connect it to the first one factor here. Great. So the next thing you're going to do, the glossy shader, sorry, I made a mistake, this is not supposed to go here, it's supposed to come here. So the glossy shader, you're going to create the glossy shader, another one, Shift A, and you add shader glossy, and you put this here, and you connect this to this. Beautiful. Then you take the metallic, it goes straight into the second glossy here. Now you can see our drum is looking a bit realistic. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to add another one, Shift A. So what I'm going to do, in order for the sake of organization, I'm going to move this here so everything is organized. Then I'm going to Shift A again, and I'm going to add another image. I'm going to texture and add another image and put it here. Then we're going to click it, open, and we're going to add, let's see, maybe it's our normal. Now you have you have a height, you have a normal, you have opacity. So what we're going to do is going to add our height. Now the height is where we create the bump. Okay, bumps are basically where you feel like this gives you this perspective of imperfection. So I'm going to create Shift A, and I'm going to add a bump node under vector. I'm going to say bump node. So this goes into the strength, and this will go into the roughness. Let me check. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, it looks okay. Let's try the normal. Can't actually, but I could feel a bit of perspective to it. So let's do the last one here, the roughness here. Great. Now I have a kind of like, yes, I have something that looks, but it's just only creating this glossy feel. So we'll do the raw normal. Okay, so once we've done that, we're going to do Shift A again, and we're going to bring in another image texture. This time we're bringing in our normals. So image, we're going to do Shift, open it, and we're going here. Connecting textures can be a very intricate thing because you have to use your mind to do that. We're going to bring in the normals. So we're going to create Shift A and do under vector, you do normal map. So you put your normal, sorry, let me do it again. Shift A, map, yes, this normal map. You have a normal map, so you connect this to color, and you plug the normals. Let me come close so you see. You plug the normals to everywhere that has normals. Normal here, you see that's a normal there. You're gonna connect the normals here. Everywhere that has a normal, you're gonna like connect your normals there to make it real. So let's take this one out. So we're going to also do, there's some couple of normals here. Yeah, do your normals here. Yeah, under your, yes. Now if you look at the drum, it's looking realistic. You see it's looking more realistic. So you're going to connect the normal again to the normals here. So I'm going to do normals, connect it here, normal. Great. Yes, now look at it. You see how realistic the drum looks now. You see how realistic you can feel the drum. So we're going to do another one. So we'll bring in another factor. If you feel it's okay for you, you could leave it, but for me, I just feel I should just push our art a bit, push the boundary, and see how far we could go. Now we've added normal, we've added base color, we've not added ambient occlusion, we've added metallic height, base. So we're going to add a roughness. So we're not going to rely on the roughness on the object on Blender itself. So we're going to plug this roughness right here. So let's see how it looks. Yeah, I think this is cool. Let me try the other glossy. Yeah, I think this is cool. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, let's share the roughness. Let's go back to layout. Now you see our drum, what we textured here. Now let's render. Let's go to render and say render image, and let's see what turns out. Now it's going to take some time, because now you see our object right here. Look at how realistic the drum looks. You see how realistic it looks. So what we're going to do from this point, let's do a bit of lighting. Okay, let's do a bit of lighting here. I'm supposed to teach you lighting in the next class, but we'll go further and we'll look at all options of lighting. So let's do some lighting here to make our object come out a bit better. So we're going to take away the sun. We have this lights here. We're going to take this out, delete it. Bang. Now everything is flat. Let's just shift A and we'll go to lights here and we say area lights. Okay, so let's go back to our render view. Area light. We have our area light here. Yep. So let's do that. We use an area light instead. Let's rotate x-axis. Let's rotate y-axis. Yes, so it's facing the drum like this. Yeah, so we're going to do a 3-point lighting. Yes, let's move it this way. So we're going to increase the light to like let's increase it here to, let's say 10. Yeah, let's do 25. It's not pushing up more light, so let's, you know what, let's do 60. Yeah, you see I have these kind of like light feel coming from this point. So you could change the color of your lighting. Maybe you could use blue, whatever. You could warm it a bit with kind of like that. Yes, so we're going to create another one. I'm going to do Shift A and I'm going to add light again. I'm going to add light again. I'm going to do another area light. Let's move it up G axis. Let's scale it up a bit. So let's move it to the X. Then let's rotate it as Y axis, so it's facing the drum from behind. You see that? So I'm going to make this a blue, kind of like color, a blue. So I'm going to increase the power to let's do 30. Beautiful. Now we have this kind of like 3-point lighting. There's one coming from the side, then there's one here. So we're going to do another one. Shift A. We're going to add another spotlight. We're going to move it G. Okay, it's not actually the same light, so there's a light and we say area light again. Let's move it G, Z axis, that's up. You move it back, Y axis, then you rotate X axis to actually make it face the light like that. Well, yeah, so we're gonna do these 25. Beautiful. So we could scale the light up so it has a lot of reach, so we could bump it up more. So then our floor, if we want our floor to look realistic, also we could do the same texture connection, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to add maybe let's do brown, a bit brownish. Let's do that. Okay, so and we're going to render this and see how the image looks. Okay, let's render image. We're gonna wait. Voila, look at our drum. Though the texture is out of place anyway, but you could get a better texture that fits. This is for like practice sake, so you understand. You can see how real the drum looks compared to the floor. So if you understand how to connect textures, it's going to actually help you. Now you can see the height on the drum. It looks as though it's actually a rusted drum because we connected our textures to the right and appropriate place. We used our heights, we used a metallic shader, we used our bump, we used even our normals. So this gave us like a great look. So we're gonna stop here. Thank you for watching. If you love this video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channels, and follow the next class. Thank you.